Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing my weekly review for this week's episode of the Walking Dead television series. This is for episode 4 of season 8. It is called Some Guy. And spoiler warning, if you guys have not seen this episode yet, you definitely want to watch it before you watch this review, because this week's episode also contained a major character death, another one. So these first 4 episodes, I may have to say, might be the best start for a Walking Dead season ever, I think. At least for me, my taste. Everybody has different tastes. You guys know I love my action, and All Out War so far is definitely not disappointing. This is also a very sad episode, though. We get all the action, we have some really intense sequences, and we finish off with quite the tearjerker of a scene. So yes, spoiler warning. I did my reaction video earlier. If you guys have not seen it, it's in the channel right now, and I'll have it featured in the end video screens for you guys here, so you can click on it to see my reaction to the episode. But just to recap it, very sad ending to the episode. Was very sad to see Shiva killed off in the series, even though, like I said in that video, it makes total sense that you would do so due to the cost of CG and the difficulty of doing it week to week for a character. So this episode, I think, is an extremely important episode for The Walking Dead, because you need episodes like this for your newer characters. You know, Ezekiel is not a character that's been around since season 1 or season 2, like you're maybe a Glenn or a Maggie. Ezekiel's a character that really has just kind of popped up almost out of nowhere for us in the series in season 7. So he really hasn't been in the series that long, and you know, some people like Ezekiel. I really like Ezekiel a lot. I love the character, especially what they've done with him in the TV series. I'd say he has already surpassed the comic book series version in what they've done with him. Some people don't like him, but I think they probably feel differently after seeing this episode. In this episode, we get a great understanding about Ezekiel's backstory, Ezekiel's motivations, why he does what he does, and you have this nerdy savior that kind of takes him at gunpoint, who I suppose is unnamed, but maybe they'll release some kind of name. It doesn't really matter. The nerdy savior that looks like a serial killer in real life, right? IRL, that takes him and pretty much breaks him down. He breaks down Ezekiel to go from the king of the kingdom to some guy. And in this episode, that's what we see with Ezekiel. He goes from totally confident at the end of episode 3 to the 50 cal showing up after he tells everyone to scatter, to him basically losing pretty much his whole army. I mean, he returns to the kingdom, and there's almost nobody with him. He returns with Jerry and Carol out of everybody. So, you know, you have everyone there as he returns. He can't even manage to pull himself to say something to everyone, to tell everyone what happened. They all kind of come up and want to know, and he just kind of walks away. So it's definitely a tragic episode for Ezekiel. I really liked what they did with this one, even though, like, you know, in terms of saying I like it, it's sad. It makes me sad to see it. I'm sure it makes a lot of you guys sad to see it. But, you know, that is the type of episode that's really going to make people feel for the character, to really feel for Ezekiel, and become quickly, tethered to him, to quickly, adopt this character as like a legitimate Walking Dead survivor, legitimate Walking Dead character, rather than just some guy who popped up in season 7. So for this episode, even though it breaks Ezekiel down to become some guy, I think for the viewers, it takes him from being some guy and makes him even more some guy out there in the zombie apocalypse that has his own group, and he's got a cool angle and everything, like the nerdy guy said, right? You know, the king of the kingdom got the tiger, all this stuff. But it takes him from being some guy for the casual viewer, and I think it makes him a cemented Walking Dead survivor that you can put right up there with some of your other A-listers throughout the show, and really puts him where he needs to be if he's going to be one of the 3. If you're going to have Rick, the Widow, and the King, you know, now in this one for sure, I'm sure most people will look at Ezekiel and say, okay, he is definitely one of our standout characters from the Walking Dead series, even though he wasn't even in the show until season 7. So aside from all of the tragic stuff, for Ezekiel, the way they put this one together, I thought was really brilliant. We start off with the intro, and you pretty much get to see this episode from his perspective. It's like his episode. If you want to say Save the Last One is kind of Shane's episode. This is Ezekiel's episode. And, there's some similarities there. You got him kind of getting ready and shaving in the mirror, this kind of stuff, get his hair set and everything. As he kind of goes out, and he's smiling at the beginning. He's totally happy. He's feeling like, okay, we got this. He's given awesome speeches, which I have to say, he might have the best speeches in the whole show, because I'm like watching this and I'm thinking like, yeah, let's go. His speeches are awesome, right? We will win, right? So they're all one. They all kind of come together. We are one, and you see everybody there. And then we kind of wake up from the flashback and we see the bodies, and it's really brutal and very tragic. And I also felt like in this one, even though we don't know a lot of these characters, we get the sense they're not just red shirts. We get the sense that they're not just some random character that's been killed. You see the holes in them and the brutality of it, and then you see the saviors that are loading up the 50 cal. And it's like, oh my God, it's just like so brutal. And also because they did that, it really added to the sense of urgency later on for Rick and Daryl to get the guns, with not letting them go back to Negan, because it is true that in a war, you can have all these people, you win the battle, and then all of a sudden, there's a perch, and then boom, 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 and it just blows away, just mows down everybody, right? Just mows them down. And likewise for zombies, you can have zombies, you have someone roll up with a 50 cal, and pretty soon you're just mowing down the whole, the whole lot of them. So it was really dark to see it start off. Really added to the emotion, getting to feel for Ezekiel, sympathizing with him as a viewer, I think. And he can't help himself. You got to think he's trying to be quiet because he knows their savior's still out there. But at the same time, he just has to let out the no, because basically everything is lost. Everybody's dead. They got bullet holes in them the size of some of them have holes in them huge holes. And it's just brutal. Then they start turning. So which, you could kind of see starting to happen. But as it is, like, oh shit, because then you find out, of course, that he's injured. It was cool in this one too, the way they kind of showed it too, that protect the king. So they kind of showed it to where the others weren't kind of being blasted onto him, but they were protecting him. So they were jumping on him to take a body shield, human shield, to take the the force of the bullets in that, and also so that it would seem like he's dead, or he's down and out, so playing dead, so to speak, so they don't hit him afterwards if he's still within range. So, man, that was a sick intro. It was very scary. It was very emotional, and you were right there with him. You're right there with him. You sense it. You feel it. You get an understanding. So I really loved the intro of the episode. It was tragic. The music, everything, really, really great, and really feeling for Ezekiel. So you got him crawling away. You've got kind of some of the zombies are getting a bit close. He's able to kind of fight his way out. Then we get to see the 50 cal being loaded up, which is very ominous, to see it, because it's like you see it, it's just this thing, right? But it's like the importance added to it, because it's just mowed down, most of the Kingdom forces, is like, wow, you really get a sense that it's not just a gun, because there's guns everywhere. Who cares, right? That'd be the thing that you'd say at first, but certainly because they went with what they did earlier, nobody's thinking that after what they got to see what the damn thing could do, right? Or the things can do, because they have a couple of them, right? So then we've got Carol inside. She kind of goes through. That was a pretty cool sequence that she kind of crawls up. One thing I was thinking is like, when did she have time to get up in there? But that's Carol, so we're not gonna question her. But she shoots him down through the, crawling up into the rafters, so to speak, or up above. That was wicked cool, and I really liked that sequence, even if it was, like I said, was a little bit like, how'd she get in there? But it was cool either way. And then you got kind of the excitement starting of them trying to grab the guns and get out of there. More reinforcements come in of the saviors. They grab them, they start heading out. She does what she can to go after them, and we do get some pretty exciting sequences there afterwards, where she kind of pretends to surrender, gets the knife, and then cuts the one guy, and then they keep unloading all their shots to the point where they're almost out totally, and it seems like she has the upper hand. You've got the gate, which goes open. Some of them start getting eaten by zombies in behind them, and you have her that kind of pins the two guys down. But of course, seeing from her perspective, that you've got Ezekiel and Jerry on the other side of the fence that are basically trapped, and if she doesn't help, are sure to die. The savior that captures Ezekiel was a pretty good bad guy, even though he is kind of a black shirt bad guy. That kind of deal. But it was like a lot of the lines he said were pretty cool. How he kind of breaks him down, delusions images of grandeur, and he's just like, he's basically trolling the hell out of him. He's trolling the hell out of Ezekiel. He's respecting the angle of what Ezekiel does. Asks if he works in a circus, this kind of thing. But it was great to see Jerry just save him, come in, and with the that was a pretty sweet weapon, man. The double-bladed battle axe, right? Just cutting him in two type of deal. That was really cool when he did save him, and them getting backed up and everything, and it was a really exciting sequence, because we kind of knew, like, okay, yeah, Ezekiel's going to get out of there, but for a little while I was questioning, is Jerry going to survive? Well, they better not kill Jerry off, and they didn't, so that was fun, and that was good, even though he did lose just about everything else except for Jerry and Carol. So you have her. She comes up. She starts clearing them out, and then she allows the guys with the guns to get away. But probably the most badass sequence of the episode is when they're like, oh no, they're going to get away, basically, and then she's like, no, they're not. They're not getting back to the sanctuary. As you hear Daryl and Rick kind of ride up on them, and that was so sick because that's something that I'm trying to think back in The Walking Dead if we've ever seen like a car chase sequence like that felt that it was that important. Like, it really did feel that important after you saw what the guns could do. And it was just really exciting. It was so cool to see. And we saw a little bit of it in the trailer. You got Daryl kind of comes up and kind of gets thrown off because of the guy shooting it. But Rick coming up, his car's getting messed up by the shots, but because the guy's driving so erratically, the guy in the back starts kind of falling, and they end up getting him, and kind of, you get the Rick jump sequence where he jumps in the thing, stabs the guy, and the whole thing kind of goes crazy and then flies off the road. So it was just a really exciting sequence, even though it didn't last long as part of the episode, but it was just, it was really sick to see Daryl kind of ride up and that kind of thing. So for that reason, I'm still mad at him for killing off Morales, but you know what? I gotta admit, that was super badass. So they're getting good mileage out of Daryl. Keeping him alive, I think, was a good idea because that was pretty freaking badass when him and Rick drive up. And Rick's the one who gets him, so that was cool too. Jump in cars and stuff like that. So that was very cool for something that, again, like I said, we don't really get to see a lot in The Walking Dead. So I love that one. That was a really cool sequence. And then we go on from there. They got the guns, that kind of thing. They capture the guy, it sounds like, from what we saw. And that's pretty much their time in the episode. They do not... I love that they're in the episode. They're just not in the episode all that much. And it actually works perfectly because it kind of... And this is what I think maybe they lacked a little bit in Season 7, where you have these other groups out there, but they don't feel connected. Like, the episodes felt so bottled off. It felt like sometimes you're watching a different show if you were watching a certain episode. Even though you just have Daryl and Rick kind of come in for a minute, it worked perfectly. It elevated the episode. It was super exciting. It added that little piece in there that connects it to the rest of the universe. And it felt like, okay, yes, they're still all kind of, even though they were kind of separate, and then, Carol and the others go off in a different direction, and Rick and, Daryl go off. But it was just, it was really exciting. It was a really cool chase. And I love to see that because, they do have to mix it up. Zombies are always cool to see, but and action sequences as well too. But that was just something fresh that we never really have seen in The Walking Dead, which I thought was really cool for them to do. So I love that sequence, and I loved how they just used Daryl and Rick a little bit, but it was awesome to see. And then we pretty much finish up the rest of the episode. We got the zombies coming in, we got the swamp, and we've got Ezekiel with a really broken spirit at this point, probably feeling like he's failed everybody, like he's not really a king, questioning himself after not one of our ranks, right? And then he loses basically almost everybody, and then including Shiva in the end. It's like, no, and it's just one of the most sad sequences we've ever seen in the show, really, which is crazy because she's barely in the series. But we can all relate, like I said in the reaction video. It was really sad in the end. So this episode, the thing that surprised me the most about this episode is that it went by like that. Watching the episode, like it was on and it was over, and it was like, that's it. It just went by in a flash. It was like the fastest episode to watch I think I've seen in a long time. To where you didn't even notice it. And I think that tells you how great the episode really was, is when you don't even notice the time. And the whole episode, it's like, oh, the episode started, now it's over, and you didn't notice the entire thing go through. It's not like one of those episodes where it's like, how much longer we got, on commercial breaks or something, because it's like, really slow or something. This episode was so fast again, and had the character stuff, the character drama in there as well too, and development in there too for Ezekiel, and the others as well too, and it was just an amazing episode. So I'm going to give it almost a perfect 10, 9.9. This is probably like the highest scored first 4 episodes of the season I think I've ever probably given. This season so far has just been absolutely killer. It looks like things are going to start to slow down a little bit now, according to what Scott Gimple said about the show in season 8 and All Out War. But certainly, this is a war. This is what we wanted to see. I am totally satisfied, totally happy with what they've done in these first 4 episodes. If they have to slow down for a while now and kind of go back to regular pace, totally, yeah. I mean, you can't do this type of stuff forever. Everybody'd be dead, before you know it. So it's a damn near perfect episode. The only thing I would take it away, I mean, there's no Morales thanks to this guy, but the zooms were a little weird. The zooms during the car chase, I feel like that didn't really. I don't know. It just didn't look right to me. It looked kind of B-movie-ish. I'm not sure. I don't know. Zoom cam, very, very sparingly does it make sense. And I think maybe in this instance, I don't know, maybe they had footage without it and it looked better with the zoom. I don't know. But personally, I think I wouldn't have gone with the zoom. But great episode. I mean, really makes Ezekiel kind of one of those, old school Walking Dead characters already. It really elevates him, and really sad and tragic at the end. What a great start to a season, man. I mean, that's as much as we can ask for. If we're still asking for more than that, you know what? I think we're asking too much. But that'll be it for this review, guys. I'll be back again in about an hour for my predictions of what I think is going to happen in Episode 5. Check out the reaction video. Check out the predictions video if you're watching this later. And send me questions for Q&As, because so much happened this episode. I'm sure there's lots of things you guys are going to want to discuss this week. So send them to me in a private message or in the comments below. Let me know what you guys thought about the episode, if you enjoyed it as much as I did, and just how you're feeling. Write the comments below. Let me know what you guys think. If you like this video, please thumb it up below. You can share, you can favorite. And if you're new and you want to subscribe to the channel, I would appreciate it. You can do it. Subscribe at the bottom left. That's it for this one. See you guys again soon, about an hour. As always, it's Trev, and I'm saying peace. Later, guys. See ya.